Hi everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition. And today we are going to talk about human soulmates and ascension soulmates. And we're going to start to kind of separate that out a little bit so we can get a different perspective on how they are different and how sometimes they kind of will overlap. Now, I started to think it's funny when I can't shoot for a little bit of time. Last week I couldn't. I had company, so I couldn't do any videos or any live streams last week. So I'll get little ideas. I'll just kind of jot them down, and I'll come back and I'll just go through them. Some I will cross off because I don't feel like it's necessary to do it anymore, and others I'll be like, yeah, I want to explore that topic. And this is one that kind of came up, and I saw it a different way. And I've done a lot of videos about soulmates, twin flames, so I've tackled it quite a bit before. So I want to kind of tackle it from a different perspective a little bit. And bring in how our human soulmates and our ascension soulmates are different. Because they link up to a different grid. Now, what kind of got me thinking about this was people who, there's this human, I want to say superstition, but when you see a celebrity pass away, they always come in threes, right? We'll go, one celebrity just died, you're gonna have two more that just died in quick succession. And it's like, why does that happen? Why is that the rule of three, where you'll have one pass away and two others pass away? Sometimes they have a connection, sometimes they have no connection at all. Like you would, like, why are these people all kind of going out at the same time? They are ascension soulmates. They were now going to do their ascension phase somewhere else. They're exiting together. Like I said, some will have a connection. You will have some that'll be mother and daughter that'll, go quickly at the same time. If you even go into different, I don't like to say past, but if you go into different dimensional existences, you had Sam Adams and Thomas Jefferson. They went out the same day. And they were both human soulmates because they went through a lot of turmoil in their existence, and then they also ascended at the exact same time, which to me also makes them ascension soulmates. So you kind of see this play out from afar, and it's a joke. People would say like, oh yeah, it always happens in threes. But now you start to understand why. Why does that happen like that? Why do we have groups that go out kind of at the same time? And you even see it on the non-celebrity level, but I wanted to start with the celebrity level because that's the one that I think it gets a little more notice, because when people exit, it's on TV and people will notice it and kind of put it all together. So, and that's kind of the big kind of, macro view of it in a sense. And when you talk about it on a micro level, when you talk about it in your own existence, human soulmates come together, yes, to teach us lessons. Yes, there are some overlap. And, yeah, they have a contract. Yes, they're supposed to help us with this one thing, whatever we're supposed to learn. They can be our enemy. They can be lovers. They can be friends. They can be bosses. I mean, technically, everyone is a soulmate. Everyone is a twin, and they all come in to show us something, right? Some you'll feel more of an attachment to than others, and that's just how that works. Some you'll feel that these people are really feel more important than someone else because you share a certain signature, you share an energetic signature. It feels stronger with some people. Sex also links us stronger with some people. So we also come together though, and I've mentioned this before, when you look at soulmates, and we're just going to do soulmates for now. Every soulmate's technically a twin, and everyone's technically a twin. So we're just going to separate, knowing and understanding that, we're going to just separate it out for this conversation a little bit. That we have certain ones, but technically anyone in your life is a soulmate. Everyone in your life is a twin. They're in a sense, they mirror back a certain aspect of you. When you link up with human soulmates, you link up for different reasons than an ascension soulmate. You link up because of physical attributes, right? You like the way they look. You have something in common. You have a physical thing in common. Oh, you like comic books. I like comic books. Oh, I love that movie. You love that movie. I like to read. You like to read. I like tall men with dark hair. Oh, you're a tall person with dark hair. We don't see the energetics going on underneath. That, okay, yeah, they look like that, or yeah, they have this in common. And we're going to get to the whole opposites attract something in a second, because I know someone out there's going to listen to this and go, what about opposites attract? How does that play? And so we'll look at that too. We have something in common. There's a commonality there. You know, there's an external commonality that brings us in. Now, at that point, we don't see that there's also the energetic working and the signatures that are bringing these people in because we have soul contracts together. We don't see that yet. You know, we don't have the vision for that. We don't have the consciousness of that. You know, if you want to switch it to, we don't have the awareness. Consciousness is just awareness of ourselves and our plans and what we're supposed to be doing. We don't have that awareness yet. You know, we don't see it. We don't understand that. So we see it very external, right? And that's why we have that term, we outgrow people, because we get to a certain phase where we're not into that anymore. You know, I had this friend, we used to go out all the time. Well, I don't want to go out anymore. Now I'm in a different phase. And now the friendship kind of fizzles because we don't have that common connector anymore. Now, that's how our human sees it, right? Oh, the common connector's gone. Energetically, we've fulfilled the contract we've done, we're supposed to do. There's nothing energetically tying us together. We've transcended that aspect of ourselves. We've now moved on to something else. Now our main aspect is not that one, so we have nothing to hold us together. That the bond is broken, the energetic signature has been dissolved, and there's nothing to hold it there. Even though we think we're attracted to these people because of the external, it's always the energy that's attracting us. It's the soul contract that's attracting us. It's the energy playing underneath we couldn't see. But there were certain reasons they were there, and why we had them look certain ways, and I want you, we're going to be into the same thing. Now, when we get to the whole thing, how come opposites attract? Now that plays into something very similar, but it's a different energy. It's not as straightforward in the sense, if our human consciousness looks at it, we'll go, okay, we both like the same thing. Okay, well now we don't like the same thing. You know, now we totally don't like the same thing, but we're still coming together. Why? We still have the soul contract going on. There's still something about them that pulls us in because we still have the same signature going, right? If they're narcissists and we're trying to come into our power, we're going to be attracted to that because we're trying to learn to come into our power. So do I think it's a deeper, you're working on a little bit deeper level when you start getting into that? I do think there is some of that with that, because you're starting to get into coming together because it's something you want to either be yourself. It's almost feeling, it was funny, I just watched House of the Dragon this week, and there's a line in House of the Dragon where Rhaenyra says, you know, because she's with her husband and they're totally opposite, and she said, well, I wanted to be him and he wanted to be me, and we made the perfect match. And it's very similar. Opposites attract for that reason, right? I want to be you, you want to be me, but energetically I'm going to bring that out in me, and you're going to bring that out in me, right? Now, there's also this human saying, all opposites attract is trouble. And it is trouble for our human consciousness because it works us on a very deep level. You know, anyone who's ever had one of those opposites attract relationships understands it happens on a very, very deep level, and it's not, it feels like it works on a deeper level. Because you're not into, we have so much in common. It's we don't have anything in common, but we still want to be together. We still feel the draw to each other because we're trying to fill a gap still with that person. It's still a soul contract gap filling thing we're doing. In our human consciousness, we're always going to be trying to fill gaps, and we do that with people. We do it with people. We do it with things. We're massive collectors. You know, our human consciousness wants to collect things. It goes into the human DNA, you know, hunting and gathering, right? We're still hunting and gathering. We still want to gather all this stuff together. This is all my shit. I need all this stuff. And my people are part of my stuff. And I have different people for different things. I have different aspects of me represented in each person. And we're all going through this together. To clear. Now, we get to our awakening process, which some people say it's that one thing, you know, I awakened when this one thing happened. And I would look back, and years ago I would have said, yeah, it was that one thing that happened, and that was it. I was in my awakening. Started my, people want to call it the dark night of the soul. I was starting all that stuff, right? No, if I could look back, it's not just that one thing. It was everything leading up to that one thing, and that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. It might not have been the most acute thing that ever happened to me. But at that point, you're so pushed beyond all the stuff that's happened to you that one thing just tips you right over the scale to the disillusionment of your human existence, the disillusionment of human systems. It's not ascension yet because you're not leaving them behind. You're just seeing how distorted and fucked up it is. And it is not making you happy anymore because you got to that one last thing that just didn't fucking work, and now you just feel like it is almost the end of an era. It's the total disillusionment of the whole human realities, and that's why they call it an awakening. You're awakening to the distortion. You're awakening to that you are in a matrix. Now the matrix is also inside of our body. That's why we have to clear so much body stuff and break it down inside. It's not that we are in this simulation, everything else around us is the matrix. We are the matrix, right? So we ourselves have to pull out of all that and break all that stuff down. But that's ascension. Once we get to our awakening, our soulmates start to change, and our human soulmates who are still on their human journey no longer have the same signature, because we're now trying to grid up to a different template. We're now going into our soul template, our ascension template. It's a different template. It's not, look at your human template here and you have a soul template here. They're not the same. The people will not be the same. Now, can you have some human contracts that now go into ascension contracts? I'm not saying it can happen. I do feel like for the most part the human ones end and you get all new people, and these are people that you don't see the connection to, right? There's a consciousness connection, but there's nothing. If you met these people in your human existence, you would not have been friends with them. You would not have wanted them around because they didn't look the way you wanted them to look. They didn't present the way you wanted them to present. They didn't have what you wanted them to have. They didn't share any of your background. They didn't share any of your beliefs. They were total opposites. They like different stuff. You know, even in Ascension, even if they have a different dream of what Ascension is to them, it's just they come in and you're like, and that starts to disillusion us a little bit to Ascension in the beginning, because this is not the way we wanted to see it. We wanted all of our human stuff to come with us. Yeah, we want to gain a higher consciousness. We want to move on to ascending our consciousness, ascending our body to be able to live ascended lives and ascended timelines. But we want to bring all the old people with us because those are the people we chose before. And now we're so out of alignment with them. They don't want to be there. Honestly, we don't want them there. We're just kind of keeping them along because it's like a comfy pillow that we've always had. And we get all new people. But there's not people you would have chose before. And it gets us to think, what's going on? Why can't it be this person? Why does it have to be this new person, this person I might have met? And a lot of these people you might have come in contact with in your human existence, but they were very tertiary people. They might have come in for a day here, a day there, and some are totally new. You've never seen them before. I had some people come back through as Ascension. I don't really want to use the word partner because they weren't long term, but they came in to assist in certain parts of Ascension for me. And they were Ascension soulmates. You know, they were galactic partners. They were galactic soulmates. It's a whole different level of soulmates, because now what we're doing is supporting each other through Ascension. Not supporting each other to get to Ascension. Not supporting each other to clear distortions. Not supporting each other in a human sense. Because in our human life, our soulmates supported us in our human existence, right? Now, underneath, we had all that shit going on we're working through, but we couldn't see that. We didn't understand any of that stuff was going on, right? We were like, nah, I don't even know what any of that stuff is, really. I don't. A lot of us at that point, we've never even heard of soul contracts, you know? So when you start hearing this stuff, it makes more sense to why you came together with certain people. When you start hearing about twin flames, it sort of puts a lot of these relationships in a different consciousness for you and a different awareness. But at the time, we still would look at, well, we broke up because these very physical reasons, right? We don't see, oh yeah, there's a lot of energetics playing on underneath. That was not an Ascension soulmate. That was a human soulmate. They helped me through. Once I left the human realities behind and I started pulling out of them, which is what Ascension is, leaving it behind. building something new, not supporting that, none of these people could come because they're linked to that blueprint. They're not linked to the new one. So we get a lot of new people, and they're different relationships. You have a different connection with them. You have a very sacred connection with them, but you don't have the attachment we did to our human ones. You find they come and go a lot easier, I'm going to say, because we don't get wrapped up in them. We understand, and maybe at the time we don't understand 100% what they are, but we don't have the cords of attachment because they're at a place in their process where they're not trying to attach as much, and we're not trying to attach. We've broken through a lot of that stuff. So when you start getting a lot of these people in, yeah, they might not come in for long periods of time. They might not come in forever. You might not have your true Ascension partner that's going to be with you for, years and years and years through your process. But these people still come in and out. They still operate in the same capacity as our human soulmates do. They don't stay quite as long. In some cases they might stay a little bit longer. In my experience, mine have not stayed as long. I don't have the attachment to them because I've cleared the attachment with them myself. It's not that I don't feel as deeply for them. It's just I don't have that need for the attachment inside. I've cleared that part of the matrix inside of me, so I'm not latching on to them, right? It doesn't matter to me if they come or if they go. If they're here, it's a bonus. If they're not, that's okay too, because they're going to go out and do what they need to do. Now, like I said, sometimes we'll get this confusion of, oh, their Ascension partners are going to be with me through the whole thing. They're never going to leave. We're bonded because we're Ascension buddies. Or we're Ascension soulmates, we're Ascension twin flames. But really, you can't even have the twin flame in Ascension anymore because that's its own matrix that we clear when we get out of the whole twin flame thing. We don't need something to complete us, we complete ourselves. So your Ascension partnerships and those soulmates come in very, very differently. And for a while, we might think, well, this doesn't feel like it did. I don't feel the same way as I used to feel about people when I was in my human consciousness, my human experiences. I used to feel more excited about people, or highs and lows. I get super happy with them, and then we might have a thing where I'm really pissed at them and upset. And it's not that you don't have some of those emotions that come through when you're clearing something. They trigger it and you clear it. But because we don't run on emotion, none of that really impacts the relationship in a sense. Because in Ascension, you're now fueled by creativity, a purpose. You're not fueled by your emotions. As humans, we're fueled by our emotions. We stay in relationships because we feel something. It might not be the best thing we want to feel, but at least it's something, right? And we've all been in those. But it's like, well, I feel something, so I'll stay. Ascension relationships aren't that. They can trigger emotions, but we're not ruled by them. We can separate out, in a sense, clearing the emotion and that partnership and that soul relationship and that Ascension relationship, where we don't let it taint the relationship. Now, we might get to a point where there's no purpose to be together anymore. It's not creative anymore. It's not fun anymore in that sense. There's nothing for us to really do together. They want to go create over here and I want to create something over here. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not practical. Your Ascension partnerships will also get practical in that sense. If it's not a purpose, we don't have a lot of interest in it because we also understand that if it's something else we need to go do, there'll be another person that comes in to help us. Like I said, they might have never been anyone you'd have picked in your human consciousness. We have to get over that. We have to stop trying to dictate it. And I see a lot of people refuse things because they don't like the package it came in, and I used to do the same thing. I didn't like the way it came. I don't like the way it came. You could have in your human existence, and I'm going to flip this and kind of flip in how some people can come back in a different way. You can have people who play the role as your parents in your human existence come back in and really assist with your Ascension process, but they're not really acting as parents anymore. Now a lot of those roles get switched up and they're now helping you through part of your Ascension process. So they now have become more of Ascension soulmates. And they don't have the same, you're not playing that parent-child role anymore. You're not caught up in that matrix. You're not caught because you've cleared that. And whether you clear that with them or you cleared that before you got there, normally we clear it while we're going through this part of our Ascension process, being near them. We clear all that ancestral DNA. We clear all the mommy issues and daddy issues we have. And we go forward. So you can see some people flipping roles and coming back, but you don't feel the same way about them because we're not the same, and because we're not the same, we're seeing a different part of them. And because we see a different part of them, we're now in a different timeline with them. We're now in an ascended timeline with them, and we're not going through the same things before. If you find you are going through the same things before, we really have to look at if we're recreating it by bringing in the old stuff. What happened in your human existence doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We have to let it all go, forgive it. Yeah, I played a bad guy there. Yo, no, I was a hero in that story. No, I was the villain in that story. I was so mean right there. I can't believe I was that mean. We got to let all that go. We cannot carry it forward because then all we do is stay in the loop. Everyone wants to know, how do I get off the karmic cycle? We have to stop creating it. And we expect the same thing. We expect the same thing. We come in acting the same way. And all of a sudden, we just tee it all up again. Because when we're still acting the same way, we're still expecting the same thing, technically we're now in a different consciousness. We're now back in another timeline. So we get the same thing again. So when we start looking at new people coming in and other people going and what we used to really be interested in, you'll also find that once you get into attracting, and this used to also go into zodiac signs, you would find in my human consciousness, different parts of my human realities at different years, different decades, I'd attracted different signs, right? I was big in one time, you're only attracting Capricorns. To me, if you're trying to come into your power, you'll attract a lot of Capricorns because they're very strong in their power and you're going to stand up to them at some point. And then you kind of get out of the Capricorn phase and you might be into a different phase. But you attract all of a sudden one set of signs and then a different set of signs and a different set of signs. And it's kind of the same type of thing, but you're just raising the consciousness of how you look at it. Whereas now I'm attracting a different consciousness to me. My consciousness is now attracting people. I'm not, and I'm aware of what I'm transmitting out. As humans, we're not aware of what we're transmitting out. So when we don't get what we wanted, we don't understand, right? Because we're not aware of what we're doing. We're not aware that everything we're creating is so fucked up anyway. How can it end any other way but complete fuckery in a sense? Because that's all we're transmitting out. Whereas when we're in our ascension timelines and our ascension realities, we might not be fully aware yet. You might still be clearing something, you can't see the whole thing yet. We might see just a facet. We're always more aware than we were. And the old stuff doesn't tend to matter anymore. I can look back at videos I did a couple weeks ago. I probably couldn't tell you anything I said in them. I don't even remember doing them, right? So that's when I said earlier, a lot of times I'll write stuff down I want to talk about, and then I just cross it out. I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna, I don't know if I want to talk about that anymore. It doesn't seem relevant anymore. One, the information I was going to bring through now probably is old, and I don't feel the need to do it. And that's how quickly vibrational realities can shift, and how ascension realities shift. And also, I'm going to end on this note because I don't want to make this one super long. When we're in our ascended realities and we're bringing in, these people are coming in, we also don't we really grow the partnership and relationship. We do not rush into it. We really look at the consciousness of what we have in front of us. Where is it going? Do we have anything we can create together? Is there a purpose of us coming together? Because when you get into these Ascension soulmates, you can say, yeah, I don't think we're aligned right now. This doesn't seem like this is going to work right now. Maybe later in a different timeline, but right now, no, I don't think so. You look at what they have yet to clear. Just because they're in an ascension phase doesn't mean they've cleared what you cleared. You get in a partnership with them. Now we take on all their karma, what they have not cleared yet, what they have not gone through. You're going to go through it with them. That might be your contract with them. I'm not saying it might not be, but that's for you to figure out. Am I supposed to stay for that? Do I want to go through that again? I've gotten through that phase. Do I want to watch what they have to go through? Just because someone's in Ascension doesn't mean they're in the same part of Ascension you are. Ascension can be decades. It can be a 7-year process. It can be a 10-year process. For some people, it can be a 25-year process, depending on how hard they're hitting it in a sense. What else is going on in their life, at the time. Even if you're giving it everything you got, it can be a 7 to 10-year process. So if you have someone that's in year 2 and you're in year 6, it might be a reason to come together for a little while to work something out. And then that might be it. Or you might look and go, no, I'm supposed to be here with this person to assist them with the rest. I understand I'm taking on their karma, what they haven't cleared yet. I get that. It's conscious self-awareness. When you get into these relationships in your ascension processes, it's an awareness of what you have in front of you. We had no awareness in our human consciousness. Everything was unconscious. We were still moving through the cosmic dance. We were doing it unconsciously. Once you get into your ascension timelines, you're starting to do it consciously. And there's responsibility to that, to really look and see, yeah, this person shows up on my doorstep. Yeah, they're in their ascension process. Yeah, we can come in and maybe do this thing together, but is this a long-term thing? Maybe not. And we've talked a lot about galactic family and how we can come together with a galactic family, mostly in your ascended timelines there, because you recognize them as galactic family, but you don't want to be with them forever. You have no desire to. But boy, I like their consciousness, but I don't really like their energy. You know, we can do this thing together, then let's go our separate ways. Because we don't need to be all huddled up together. You know, and plus, in our ascension realities, we like to be by ourselves quite a bit. So there's a lot of me time and being alone and expanding out. And someone in a different part of their process, it might not work. Whereas before, we were so attracted by the physical, and that's how they got us, right? In our human consciousness, that chemistry got us, that attraction got us. The pull to that thing got us, because we're ruled by those emotions to get us there. And now we're going to work through our stuff. We're going to do what we have to do in this timeline, and then we're going to move on to something else. Still increasing our consciousness. In our human consciousness, we're still increasing our vibration, but in a very small way, right? We were drawn in by all that. By the time you get to your ascension process, you're not drawn into that stuff anymore. You might still go through twin flame things, but you might work through them a lot quicker. You know, you might even get into a full relationship because you can kind of see it's not going to work. We have the awareness to really look at things without the emotions, because we've cleared the need for relationships within us. We're so happy and whole inside that we are very picky about what comes forward. We're not just trying to grab at everything. We're not collecting shit anymore. We're not collecting people anymore. We're very conscious of what we have in front of us and where we want to go and what we want to create. And if it doesn't fit, we're okay with letting it go. It might come back later on. It might not come back later on. Maybe this person's in year 1 of their ascension and they might come back when they're in year 7. And we're in a different phase, and now we can do something different together. So I'm going to leave it at that. I think that's a lot for everyone to kind of chew on. Okay. Keep practicing the art of intuition.